So if you ask me, who asked you to do this? The answer is nobody. When it is fell, uh, the smallholder farmer gets 20% of the value of management. Now, there's a very big group called United Bankers. I said, what would it take? Is Tanzanian forest an investment asset class for you? They said it's not. And probably they said, not yet. And the reason for not yet is because they say, I can't see the asset.
Lovely. Awesome. Cool. Sachin, do you want to go first?
I'm sure I can.
Lovely. Awesome. Over to you, man.
All right. Please confirm if you can see this.
We
Yes,
can,
we
yeah.
can see the, yeah.
All right. So thank you, Applied AI Club, for the opportunity. I think I enjoyed the entire build process, and especially the office hours. I think that takes a lot of commitment. So whatever values are driving you, I appreciate that, and as you can clearly see, I've benefited from it. Now, I have a couple of slides which give you the background of what this work is, and like it happens. You would want to pick up something real and straight off from somewhere in your personal or professional life to just give it a serious shot. Otherwise, things don't really move. So this is something I was working on last year in my consulting assignments over here in Africa, and I thought I might as well pick this up and try to solution for this. So if you ask me, who asked you to do this? The answer is nobody. I just thought that I should do this and try to bring some sort of smaller improvements in value chain. So that's what I've titled this as. This is I was trying to do a. I studied the timber value chain. Just for a quick context, it just means that there are countries which have a lot of trees which they grow for harvesting their wood for a variety of reasons. You could do it for the poles just behind me. I mean, this is entirely wood structure. You could do that for just the poles and use it for various things, or you could, end use could be a furniture, or it could, high value timber could go into a variety of other products like structural elements, shipbuilding, construction, other things. So, in many of these countries out here in Africa, the forest endowment is quite good, and there are small farmers, growers who have lots of land. Their plot of land is not very small compared to Indians. We operate on like 5 acres, but here the unit typically would be 5 hectares, which is about 12, 13 acres, right? So that's what they operate on, and yet they are poor. And the other thing is they always end up selling whenever they harvest the tree, and when it's ready to be taken to a workshop for further processing, they always end up getting shortchanged because the moment it is, whenever someone is harvesting the tree, it is usually when they want money, when they are in need of money. And that's exactly the time when they get taken advantage of because they have to sell in a variety of, almost like a fire sale because they need the cash, and the middlemen and the processors would take advantage of that. So the trading value is usually for at a smallholder level, the trading value ends up being much below the market value. So the skew is that every big tree, a teak or a eucalyptus or mahogany, mahogany is rare, but it's mostly teak and pine. When it is fell, uh, the smallholder farmer gets 20% of the value of the entire product chain value. So this is typically the spread, and it seldom goes beyond 20 to 30%. So I was trying to see if we can think about some methods of improving this value chain. I had studied the value chain, but any addition to the value chain steps like processing. So if you want that, at a cluster level, the wood comes out and, you cut it into planks. You set up a sawmill and you cut it into planks right there in the region. Now that's a value chain improvement. Or you take the planks and make plywood or veneer out of it. Now that's a value chain improvement. For all of these things, it would require investment. Investment would require justification on where is the raw material coming from. And that's where the problem is. Raw material cannot be seen. It's all it is an analog world out here. In India, we are taking our digital lives for granted, but I've had to like move around like 10 spots to find a stable connection. So it's a pretty analog world. So I thought that can there be a low tech efficiency layer that we can put in, and that's what I'm trying to do. And the solution is um, I'm calling it an orchestration layer because it's a slightly low stake framing. Like, can we orchestrate processes as they are and probably improve them marginally to see if we can do some efficiencies? So that's the background of what I've done. Like I said, I've studied the timber value chain extensively over last year, and I framed it out. By the end of the report, I concluded that the efficiency improvements in the supply chain would mean better recording of stocks and flows and probably warehousing. So warehousing is the structural element that I said. Now, extending that further, in Switzerland, we were in an investment conference, and Finland people are at the forefront of forestry stock management. Now, there's a very big group called United Bankers. I said, what would it take? Is Tanzanian forest an investment asset class for you? They said it's not. And probably they said not yet. And the reason for not yet is because they say I can't see the asset. So this was the framing I continued with. And then while I was having these conversations, applied social AI, Vala, and all of that, were also trying to I came across them, and I thought that why not start building something with them. So I had the frameworks ready. So I should tell you the difference between when I came to our social impact engagement over the month and what I had until that time. Until that time, I had the schematic. It's fairly dense. It just shows the flows of financial flows and the material flows in the value chain. So I had this red and blue flows, and I wanted to pick up some elements of it and try to amplify it in short. So this is what I had before the social AI engagement, and I took it to this the app that I built later on. That is all what I have for the context on this. Now, this is obviously AI generated, but this is how I went about it. I can talk about the workflow right away. In this app that I made during the time at Applied AI engagement, uh, I imagine that I would be able to build a workflow with three components, three shorter workflows, but they work in a relay sort of a format. So there's, please look at the middle column, the highlighted one. There's farmer who will create a report. So this is self-reporting. This is not, this is to be self-reported. So the origination of the data is any grower who's interested in selling a couple of logs of wood or any other produce they have. So I expanded the scope a bit. I said it may not be useful to only build for teak or eucalyptus trees or timber. Let me also add other crops into it and produce of the region. So like this beach town I'm sitting in right now has a lot of seaweed cultivation. Seaweed again has the same kind of problems in the value chain. So I thought I might just diversify a little bit of reporting options. So farmer typically self-reports. They enter the detail, and then you have those typical ones that you take a picture, upload it, the GPS module gets activated, you log in where is that produce sitting, and then you save the report and submit it. Then there is a field agent, some extension worker, agri extension worker equivalent, who goes on and verifies this report. So he would look at it, he would do physical verification, and then he would authenticate. He would either verify or reject that and update the status. And now the last one is the platform admin. Platform admin is any entity which is interested, private or government or non-government, which is interested in orchestrating this layer and seeing where the produce is to take further action. Now, the whole flow has two channels to get into. One is put it in a warehouse. So the farmer's options are I have 2 logs of wood to sell. It is located here. This is how it looks. I want to sell is one option. I want to put it in a warehouse is another option. The moment a farmer picks up, I want to put it in a warehouse, then that should trigger a chain called warehouse depository receipt, and that depository receipt becomes a financial instrument that can be used to draw a loan on. So that was the logic, and I wanted to demonstrate this to some bigger entities over here. So this is the workflow. I can talk about tech stack very briefly. And I should be honest, I don't understand most of them in the kind of detail that would matter to run this app and service this app properly. But I have used them enabled by AI. I'm aware how the flow is happening, but I think I need to get into the depths of it. So the biggest one over here is a database. I used a database called Terso. I had asked Bala, which one would be better. He suggested Superbase. I had a couple of exposures to Superbase, and I know that I was shitting bricks trying to bug fix it, and the OAuth would break and stuff like that. So riffing around AI, I came across AI suggested Terso. So that's the first time I've tried Terso. So there's a front end which is coded in React White and stuff like that. Then hosting, I've deployed it on Netlify. Backend is Netlify, all of that RESTful APIs and how it, routes all your queries and stuff. Then database is Terso, like I said. There's another first time use. I use Netlify blobs, which are for the smaller modules of updating the photographs and stuff. And then authentication device features I've spoken about. And then at the end, so I had a couple of trials of the prototype, and then I added a data export function because I totally forgot about it. So this is how the entire flow is. What I can do is I can give you all the link and the three different personas and passwords. If anyone wants to try it on their phones or computer right now. So I've just dropped it in the chat. Otherwise, I'll just like walk you through this how the app is designed and looking. I'm still on the presentation, I suppose. Sorry, just a minute. So let me just finish this. And yeah, so this is how I went about. And just to like come back. So this is all what I need. I want to speak about the app and how I structured it. I can talk about the iterations and how some of the modules happen. I think I should highlight something when I'm showing the app a bit later. Like I said, this is from the government records over here. They are seeking transparent market information. They are seeing absence of organized marketing channels. And like I mentioned in earlier, the potential market value and the actual sale value at the small farmer level is significantly lower. So these were the things I was solving for. Like I said, acknowledgement to AppliedAI Club. I think I did do a fairly smooth and quite a I could put in a sincere and a well-paced effort because of all three of them, and especially like I must appreciate the office hours that you guys had on this, because that's where I came in and I did that. Now I'll take 2 more minutes and show you the demo of the app. Yeah, so this is how it looks. Yeah. I'm signing in as admin. This is the home page. A farmer flow is here. Any new farmer starts. These are the fields that the farmer fills in. The name, product type that they have, whether they have seaweeds, cloves, coffee, cocoa, eucalyptus, pine, teak, and then the quantity. I have programmed the clusters. Clusters are basically regions or districts, you could assume, within a state. And these clusters categorization is mainly taken from the timber stocks. So they pick up one of them, and then they activate this button to so that the phone records their GPS location, and they can upload 3 pictures over here, and this is what goes and gets filed into Netlify using Netlify blobs. And then there are 2 buttons over here: warehouse to sell later or sell now. And with that intent, they submit the report. In this, when I showed this to on one of the office hours, I think Surendra was talking about how the question was, where is AI being used here? So the obvious one was that I'm coding with AI. I can't do this stuff myself. But besides that, he said, maybe you could use voice input to do the form fill. And that was a very interesting idea for me because obviously, you know, literacy rates vary, and especially the kind of catchment I'm looking at in the small farmers, they may not be very well versed with entering a form in English. So I tried to put this right on top. If you can see, there's a voice input in Kiswahili. Um, I have never tried this, so we brainstormed a bit. Bala Surendra, and they said that maybe you could, use one of the engines to which can first do the Swahili input, translate that into English, transcribe that, and then another command to get that transcription to transcribe text to do form fill. So I tried this flow. Uh, that took me some effort. The whole functionality and this kind of a little piece to be tried out was enabled only because I was, talking to them. I don't think I would have thought of it or would have tried embedding it in the manner that I did. Now, honestly, this fails and this breaks a lot. It worked in the first two instances, then it broke again. And my capability to find the bug is like, it would take me a couple of days to figure what went wrong where. So AI is also a big black box in a sense, but at least it is empowering you enough to keep you interested and solution for it. So coming back to the app, this is how you fill it, and then the field agent logs into their own ID, and then he looks at all the pending approvals to be done. He looks at this, he checks, physically verifies it, and then if he is fine, he either rejects it or whatever he wants to take in action. And this summarizes all the reports that have come to him and whether he has verified, rejected, or sent to lender. Now there's platform admin who's able to see the dashboard, and this is it. This is the crux of it. Now I have a single, view on how many crops have been reported, which is a proxy to how many farmers have reported crops, where are they located, what is the total bulk of, produce being reported. This itself is a very simple use case for uh, for the admin over here, or for smaller operators, like there are cooperatives who would want to participate in this and want to improve the value chain, but it's not happening. Now the last point is that as I was riffing through, I totally forgot to do an export CSV option, which is you could go to the database separately on Terso and start downloading that, but an export CSV is kind of very essential for any official who's working or administering this. And last thing, I added something called an audit trail to just see who's logging in, what modifications are they doing, where are they doing. Interestingly, what I found is that since I put this audit trail of what's happening on the app side, I can see that there are activity logs over here on 8/12, as in on 12th, today is 15th. But I don't see an entry anywhere. So probably there's a broken or a missing link or something happening over here. So now that's a space that I need to go back and figure. So this is all. I'll stop the demo here, but this is what I built, and I tried to take that forward. I hope I'll be able to improve this a little more, lighten it a bit, and it would be great to see this getting trialed out somewhere. So thanks again to the Applied AI Club. I think I've enjoyed this journey with them. Thanks. Over to you, Bala.
Yeah, this is fantastic, Sachin. Yeah, Sachin has been active since day one with this particular project, and it was so great to see it evolve phase by phase, step by step, week by week. Karthik, you have a question, please go ahead.
Yeah, Sachin, first, it was a fantastic, I think social impact and nice to see the demo. Congrats on a great demo. I just had a question. The field agent, what exactly are they verifying, and is there an opportunity to automate that part? And the word itself has agent in it, and agent is a buzzword these days. So, is there a way to automate what the agent does? But what do they actually check? That's my first question. When you say image, are they checking quality of the timber or presence, or what are they checking? Yeah. Thank you.
So the agent is in the English sense of the word right now, not the IT or AI sense of it. Agent is just an extension worker, someone who's
Understood.
going out to the field on behalf of someone. What he's doing is he's just checking the veracity of the report. That is it. You know, he's not weighing the. So if I've said there are 2 logs and they may not be there, I need to physically, visually verify if this is the yard which is reported as on the GPS data. If in this yard there are 2 logs or not, and if they indeed are teak as reported or eucalyptus as reported. So that is it. So this is like a basic first level check
Right.
to physically verify. So the statement for a verified report would be implied as I have gone down and seen this farmer's report physically, and I can vouch that there is the reported item on the GPS log.
Okay, understood.
Yeah. So first steps first, I think this is just a very simple filter to see whether legit reports are coming in or not.
Right.
Because every other remote method over here will cost money. That's it.
Right. Understood. Thank you.
Sachin, I was wondering how does value exchange and incentive alignment happen in this whole model? What does it replace or disrupt in the current value chain, and how does the new value chain look like?
So if I were to change one word, I would say it's not disrupting, but it is balancing the information asymmetry. So the proposition is really simple. We are trying to address the information asymmetry which is traveling in the system between various stakeholders in a value chain. So the farmer does not know what the going price is. He can verify it on phone. He knows what it's going in for that, but that does not change the dynamic that is unfolding on his yard when the flatbed truck arrives and it has to be loaded, right? So this solution tries to make the information available between various operators slightly more symmetrical, with the assumption that a consequence of this information asymmetry will be better price realization, maybe marginally, but I haven't sort of estimated or targeted that. Over to you.
But in whose interest is it to follow or use this, and who is going to be against this solution?
That's a great one. So whose interest is it in? It is the Indian equivalent of the forest department, which is the Tanzanian Forest Services, and it is in the interest of the grower. Now the middle layer. So I've tried to play a little innovative here, only in one sense, which is not an IT related thing, but more about how can you think about markets where there are where financial tooling is less. So I've tried to create a financial instrument here, saying bring a warehouse in, get the login, so you don't have to sell it immediately. You have a cash working, you have a immediate cash need. That's it. So if you have an asset, put it in, collateralize it, get your work done, and wait until it happens, right? So by this orchestration layer, we have created a new financial instrument, which is the warehouse depository based loans. So that was what I was trying to place. Now, for that, you need a whole enabler system of visibility. So like I said, my starting point is visibility. Can I see the stock moving? So the moment I can see the stock moving from the origination to the middle layers of processors and stuff and to the final, I'll be able to now, so that fixes the information asymmetries in some way. Price signals travel more efficiently because now you can see the movements of the raw material. And then the downstream of that. So this is a kind of a cascade of impacts that I'm trying to imagine that would happen. And then the final impact of this would be, well, now we can actually put it in a warehouse. There is a substantial stock of it in the warehouse, and a financial instrument is born. So this is how I was thinking about it. Low stakes, not to ruffle feathers. There are 2 major actors in the whole chain who would want to support this, and my early talks with all of them in real over here have been quite good, saying yes, we need something like this with the forestry services, and at the same time the smallholder farmers would obviously be ready if you can just like even improve it by anything better than today's price is good for them.
Wonderful.
But
I think
I would acknowledge that the model and the flow looks simplistic. It may not be. There are way too many dynamics involved. But at least there is now a track to take and attempt.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's what is wonderful, right? That you've given it a wonderful, like a brilliant attempt in the last 4 weeks. So kudos to you for building this out, and all the best. I see that you want to take it up as it's no longer a project, it's a full-time, entrepreneurship gig for you. So all the best for that.
Thank you. I'm really not sure because when things hit ground in our part of the world and in emerging economies, there are way too many things that you haven't seen. So it's going to be like a very dense jungle. But I just want to highlight one more thing which I discovered, and this is where we have a lot of inefficiencies and we're leaving it on the table. So there is a very large IT project going on here, which says make all the plots visible. Now, this is like millions of square kilometers of area, right? Now, what will you achieve by having polygon data, shape files, depositing, when you are also saying that you will not be able to estimate what is the asset standing on it. So the tree cover and their maturity stage is not enabled by a large project which is going on to just like record the land in shape. So that's what I'm saying. When a lat long coordinate on a spreadsheet can do, why are you recording shape files? And shape files are like in a room of 10 people, 8 are not capable of doing anything with a JSON or a shape. That's all. I'll just leave it there. I know
but are they trying to formalize the land records through that? Because India went through formalization of land records for last decade, and some states have it, some don't have it. Some states are still doing formalization of land records. So is that what they are trying to attempt?
No, that's not what they're trying to attempt. And I worked on land records. They just tried to do it, and then others followed, and this was a massive one. So I did work on that for 2 years. I know how that one went and how you would want to build the stack over there. This is just an additional layering that because probably some IT vendor came in or some stuff. Anyway, I'll stop. I'm speaking too much. Over to you guys.
Sure. Wonderful. Thanks.
Lovely. Thanks a lot, Sachin.